Right, we're here in Helensvale, and I'm talking to Suzette Lucan from the Legalised Cannabis Party. Now, look, what's I guess I could guess what the main policies are of the Legalised Cannabis Party, but maybe you could, put a little bit more meat on the bones about what that might entail for Australia.
Okay, well, so far as most people have already figured out, prohibition hasn't worked. It's just driven everyone back into the black market and underground. So we'd like to see cannabis obviously legalised and regulated across the board for health reasons and for social reasons as well. We think it is a better alternative to other medications, and people should have the right to use it as a first preference rather than pharmaceuticals at an affordable cost.
Okay, well, it's been legalised in many parts of the world. I mean, Portugal, I think initially, Amsterdam's got a very liberal approach to it. You know, you've got many states in America who've legalised it without, it seems, too many deleterious effects.
Yeah.
Is that part of your argument?
Yeah, and I think the bonus of other people legalising us and us sitting back and watching is we can see what's working and what's not working. And we have seen a lot of surveys done where the places where it is legalised, the uptake in youth access drops, also in harder drugs drops, and crime drops as well, because it's regulated and it's not going into the crime syndicates anymore.
Okay, but some people say that cannabis is a gateway drug into the harder drugs. How would your party respond to that?
Yeah, that's one of those questions that I think we always will get asked. I think personally, I don't believe it's a gateway drug. I believe that a drug dealer, anyone that has to go to a drug dealer or the black market, has always got that problem where they're going to be offered something else, which is why we want to take it back and regulate it and educate people on how to use it safely and in moderation.
Yeah, well, Joanne Hari in The Longest Scream talked about the reasons why cannabis was originally criminalised, and my understanding was it was, largely because of America, because they actually outlawed prohibition and, they wanted to bring in something else.
They need to demonise it.
Prior to that, it was actually not only a major, well, it was a major crop, rope making and all that sort of stuff. What advantages do you think would come to Australia if they did legalise cannabis?
Well, obviously, it's tens of billions of dollars worth of industry each year. And one of our first hurdles is that industrial hemp is seen as an agricultural crop and not as a drug crop, which is basically what it's classified as now. And there's so many hurdles for people to jump to be wanting to grow hemp. So if we could lessen up those rules and get rid of the red tape and make it more accessible for people. The hemp industry is worth tens of billions of dollars, which could all the GST and licensing could all be coming back into social housing and other community projects. And obviously in a state context is police resources can go back to real crime and can unclog the courts.
Oh, that sounds good to me. Look, what is your opinion of the major parties' attitude towards decriminalising?
Oh, that's very disappointing. We had 500,000 first preference votes at the last election. Nobody has taken that on board at all. We've also had a barriers to cannabis inquiry in 2020, a federal one, and there was a lot of recommendations made, including giving people a compassionate access scheme. They were all shut down. So that was a waste of a federal inquiry. But it's time that they start listening to what the people want. And I think the majority now have spoken, and this is what we want. And take it out of the corporate, big corporate companies who are profiting off people's pain and let them have access.
So what about in general drug use? Do you think that it should be more of a health issue or a prohibition issue?
It's definitely a health issue. Drugs are definitely a health issue, and you've got to try and figure out why these people are medicating themselves in the first place and go and have some early intervention there, and especially in our mental health. And some of the money that can come back from, legalisation can go back into programs to help people. And
Well, there's been, good results in Portugal, I know that, and, some of the Scandinavian nations have reported something similar. So look, Just generally, what do you think the reaction has been from, pre-poll voters here in Helensvale to this?
It's been fantastic, actually. Even people that are voting for the big two have come up and had a conversation how, they'll secretly tell me, oh, that really works and good on you and that. So I think the reception's been really good. And the one thing that we all talk about is the affordability for medical patients, because they just can't afford it. And we would like to see them have a home grow option with a licence, or someone to be able to compassionately grow for them. And that would be the ultimate goal, I think.
That's great. Look, it's getting a bit late, and you've got the candidates forum tonight, but is there anything else that you'd like to say to the voters of Fadden before you go to the polls on Saturday?
Just look for the leaf on the ballot, vote one, and make sure you number all the boxes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.